Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining CareerCert and PSTracks today for our webinar, Streamlining Training and Operation Checks for Private. I'm your host for the webinar, Danielle. We're so grateful for this opportunity to connect with you today and to talk about ways that you can keep your department the best protected community. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters for this webinar. With us today, we have Ryan Larson. And he joined PSTracks in 2018 and currently serves as a VP Business Development and Chief Operating Officer. Ryan works with first responder agencies to identify their inefficiencies and advises potential solutions to help streamline operations and logistics. Ryan is based in Colorado and enjoys spending time with his daughter, who just barely turned 6, and traveling to much warmer destinations, especially in the winter. I'm there with you. We also have with us Ray Shannon, Career Cert. And Ray has been a paramedic since 1986. His EMS career began in New York City and the fire department of EMS in 1986, and he later moved to California in 1990. Ray's EMS roles have included field provider, field training officer, operations manager, and director of training. Ray joined Career Cert in 2018 in the role of director of sales, which allowed him the ability to pursue his passion. So to get things kicked off for today, we wanted to ask a few polls just to get to know you guys. So first one should be launching right now up on your screen. And we wanted to know if you are currently using any of our systems. This will just help us get to know a little bit more about what you're currently using and how you can provide you with different solutions. Okay, it looks like most people have already voted. If you haven't, go ahead and hurry and vote. Perfect. So it looks like we have quite a bit of people here who have either used CareerCert before or PSTracks before. For a few of you, this is completely new, and we're grateful that you could attend today. And so hopefully everyone in attendance will be able to know this. We also wanted to know, what is the current makeup of your department? Are most of your employees paid, volunteer, is there a bit of both, a combination? I'll give you just a little while to go ahead and answer. Okay. Great. So it looks like for all those in attendance, at least who responded to the poll, you guys are all from the paid fire department. That really helps us know what information we should share. And then the last poll I wanted to ask really quick is just to figure out what your current job role is. Are you a frontline worker? Are you currently an officer? Are you a flight command staff? Okay, I'll give you just a few more seconds. Okay, wonderful. So it looks like most people here today are from command staff. So again, thank you guys so much for attending and welcome. We're so grateful to be here. For right now, I'm going to turn a little time over to Ryan, who's going to explain to you a little bit more of why PSTracks and CareerCert decided to team up together.
Thanks, Danielle, for the introduction, and hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today. Appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now with the COVID vaccine rollouts, and I think most of the country is kind of defrosting from the cold storms that rolled through the last couple of weeks. So thanks for being here. Obviously, today we have a little bit of a unique format with two companies presenting. We have CareerCert and PSTracks. So while Ray is kind of getting his presentation ready, I just wanted to share a little bit of background, kind of how this came to be. And a lot of it dates back to last year, back when we were out traveling and meeting with a lot of agencies. There's kind of a common theme that we were hearing across the country from various folks. And the theme was essentially that a lot of these agencies had, in some cases, a bigger, I'll say, quote, all-in-one type of system, like an ESO or an image trend or a vector solutions, those type of systems. And really what they were finding, or what they're telling us, is a lot of those systems had a core competency, kind of one thing that they were pretty good at, but a lot of times then they had bolt-on products, and the bolt-on products a lot of times weren't necessarily meeting their needs some of the time. So really what these agencies were coming to us and saying is, hey, we need best-in-class solutions. We need solutions that are specialized and that do specific things really well. And so here at PSTracks, and I know Ray at Career Cert, we kind of had a common goal where we tried to go out and research other companies. And really we were looking for companies that were specialized in their individual spaces, but also had modern solutions that were proven and had great customer service that they provided to their customers. And so from a PSTracks perspective, we actually met Ray and his team at a conference and had the chance to meet with the Career Cert team and realized that we were very similar in terms of the companies, and kind of have a like-minded philosophies about how we work with our customers. And so that's kind of how this all came to be. We partnered up officially last year, and what we were hoping to do today is just kind of share an overview of the two different companies. Obviously, it'll be kind of a quick overview today, but if your agency would like a more detailed presentation, we're happy to do that in a follow-up meeting. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ray, and Ray's going to start off with an introduction about Career Cert.
Great. Thanks, Ryan, and again, thanks for joining us today. Wanted to take a couple of minutes to go through Career Cert and our education, training, and certification products, but really kind of start out with why Career Cert, which is a question we're asked pretty regularly from a prospect that's looking at a potential solution. A quick recap on the Career Cert brand, though. Up until 2019, Career Cert was formerly known as Medic CE, with a long history in EMS and fire continuing education. And then we put Career Cert together, merged Medic CE and a company that we also own called the ACLS Certification Institute, and we put them together in 2019 under the Career Cert brand. And our goal for our customers is really pretty simple. We are looking to help improve outcomes, whether they are patient-related or fireground related. We also have the belief that education should be done on a regular basis versus just getting it done in the weeks or months prior to a recertification or inspection. But what Career Cert offers is a single place to complete your continuing education, certifications, and training. And we've taken a multiple learning modality approach to education, and that is really aimed at building confidence through realistic, repeatable training that ultimately results in more highly competent field providers. And you can see on the slide there some of the things that we really look at in how we streamline training and education delivery, and I'll give you a couple of examples of that here shortly. Reduce risk, reduce costs, and ultimately really looking to increase the retention rate of the education to put a competent provider in the field. So under this complete solution for Career Cert, I thought I would kind of go through the three legs of the stool. The first leg being our libraries. We have an EMS library that consists of about 460 plus hours worth of content, refreshed on a yearly basis. We have a fire library that is 80 plus hours that provides education in everything from firefighter through company officer. We have a new offering in the Career Cert platform, which is our ACLS, BLS, PALS, and NRP certification library, which is an online library that allows providers to complete their initial certification or recertification of any of those 4 trainings. So really looking at putting continuing education, certifications, and ongoing training all in one place. The second leg of the stool is our platform and learning management system. And our learning management system allows for easy reporting, creation, tracking, and assignment of the education that we have in our platform, but also the ability for you to create your own department-specific training. And then the third leg of that stool is our CX group in working to support our customers each day in the field. We have various ways that we go about support. We have chat, email, phone, and even dedicated CX folks for departments. So we really try to surround the customer with all 3 of those things in order to provide a seamless experience. Then I wanted to share this slide with you that this is the user view. And in this case, this is a user that is a learner as well as an administrator. But what I really wanted to show you was what is very easy dashboard to navigate, whether you're on a phone, a tablet, or a computer, with a complete suite of admin tools for reporting, building training plans, building your department-specific training, tracking external training and activities as well. And I would be delighted to live demo for anybody that would be interested for you to get to see just how easy the platform is to use. I mentioned modalities earlier, and we are the only provider in this space right now that offers multiple modalities. So I thought I'd just touch on a couple of them. We have the traditional self-paced online education, which is easy and convenient. People can take it anywhere at any time. But one of the differences in our self-paced education, instead of what everybody was used to years ago, where it was a voiceover PowerPoint for an hour or 90 minutes, and you had the ability to walk away, come back 60 or 90 minutes later and take the test, nobody really learned anything there. So our courses have been updated with interactivities that require the learner to stay engaged with the class in order to proceed. In 2015, we introduced virtual instructor-led training, and those are live 2-hour classes that feature an in-person instructor in a virtual classroom, very similar to what we're in now, with the student's ability to interact with the instructor in various ways. They can do it via video, they can do it via chat, but it is an engaging classroom environment that provides a live instructor and interaction with other students. Our third modality that we introduced last year are scenario-based courses. And these are courses that put the learner in the first person or first responder role, and they're asked to make a decision, a treatment decision, A or B. The benefit to this class is it provides realistic, repeatable training that allows the provider to make a choice. And if they make choice A and it's correct, they move on. If they make choice B before they're allowed to move on, they're given the justification for why their answer wasn't the most correct. And then our fourth modality that we just introduced is virtual reality. And our first introduction to virtual reality is first responder ACLS and first responder pediatric emergency assessment. Very similar to the scenario-based courses, the VR courses allow for realistic, repeatable practice in a very safe environment, and would be happy to share information for anybody that's interested on our VR offering. And then before we wrap up, we have over 300 fire and EMS agencies on our platform today, and you can see the logos there of some of those folks that have put their trust in Career Cert, and we are really grateful to have the opportunity to help improve public health and safety through online education. So Before Ryan takes over, I just wanted to say thanks for joining us today. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you about new training that helps improve patient outcomes and fireground related outcomes. And please let me know how we can help.
Great, thanks, Ray. And as Ray just covered, obviously CareerCert, they're a best-in-class solution in the training and continuing education space. I'm going to go through now PSTracks. For those that might not be familiar with us, kind of our specialty is the operational checks and logistics management side of things. We actually have 7 different modules that are part of our system, and you can see those listed out here on this first slide. But one thing that makes PSTracks unique is we actually build your entire system for you. So essentially all the paper check sheets and all the spreadsheets you might have today, you can just email those to us, and then our team actually builds out a custom configured system for your agency. And the modules I mentioned, those are a la carte, so you can kind of pick and choose what modules you'd like to start with. Now, a lot of times when we meet with agencies for the first time, they're usually using paper or spreadsheets or kind of, clunky older systems to complete their operations checks and track their equipment. And as a result of that, there's sometimes some pain points or areas for improvement. And this is kind of what we help solve. So if you're at an agency where maybe, you have inconsistent reporting or a lack of documentation of what's being done, even missing equipment or just poor accountability, making sure your checks actually get done. All these different areas, it's a little bit different for every agency, but again, this is kind of what PSTracks helps solve. As a result of those issues, kind of at the root of what's causing that, as I mentioned, is a lot of agencies, about 80% actually, use paper spreadsheets or older systems to complete those checks today. So that's kind of where we come into play. And PSTracks, we were formed in 2009 and specifically specialize in operations checks and logistics management. So this is kind of our little niche that we've been doing for about 12 years now. We're based out of Littleton, Colorado, privately owned, and we have about 500 fire and EMS departments that we work with across the US, also up in Canada and down in Australia. In terms of how our team works, I mentioned we're a little bit unique than most software companies. Essentially, you can just email us your current documentation. So any checklists or inventory lists that you have, it can be any format, so Excel documents or Word documents, whatever you got. And then from there, our team will actually build the entire system for you. We configure it to your agency, do all the training, and then help you roll it out to the crews. And we also guarantee that process. So it usually takes us about 4 to 6 weeks to get your system built and to get you trained on it. And then in addition to that, we also provide unlimited ongoing support. So essentially, as you all know, there's a lot of changes that happen over time in your agency. You might replace a vehicle or you replace equipment. Maybe you just want to make an edit to a checklist or to a schedule. All those things that happen, those different changes are included in our support. So you can also go in, you can make those changes yourself in the system. But if you want help with that, you can always call us up and we'll take care of it for you. As I mentioned previously, we have 7 different modules, and you can kind of pick and choose which modules you'd like to use, but they're all encompassing. So for each of the modules, you can have unlimited equipment, unlimited schedules that you'd like to track. And essentially the whole goal is for each of these modules, you get a full history of every item that you're tracking. So if you ever have an audit or there's an accident and you need that full documentation, you can go in, and if it's a jacket, you can pull up the full history for that jacket, or if it's a defibrillator, you can go in and look up that asset and see all the information about it, when it's expiring, etc. So we really do customize it based on what you'd like to track. And this is kind of what the system looks like. So essentially we take all those modules, we build them into one place. So for a crew member, you can kind of see the video as it walks through here. It's very simple. They can go in, they can see exactly what's due. They can click into their checklist and basically just go down the list and perform their checks, anything that they have due that day. It is a cloud-based system, so you can use any device that you'd like. Obviously, this is a phone, but you can use a computer or a tablet as well. And if you ever see an issue, like what's being shown here, you can set alerts also. So if you have a problem like a flat tire, or if you're low on inventories, you can create an alert just like this. And based on the type of issue, it'll be emailed and texted off to the appropriate people in your department. So it kind of the whole point, again, just helps streamline your operations. We want to help you be more efficient. And also on the communication side, just kind of eliminate, hopefully, a lot of the redundant emails and phone calls you might be getting now. I talked a little bit about the some of the inefficiencies that we help solve. What we did was we tried to quantify that, and what we found is across our customers, there's actually about a 700% return on your investment in year one. So basically, every dollar you invest in PSTracks, departments are saving about $7 on average in that first year. So just thought I'd point that out. That's obviously the big thing is, not only are we getting a new system to help us being more efficient, but what is it returning for us? What's our ROI on that investment? And with that, just really quickly here for a few minutes, I wanted to give you a very short demo of the system. As I mentioned before, if anyone would like a more thorough demonstration for your department on PSTracks and or Career Cert, we'd obviously be happy to do that for you. This is kind of the home page. So when you log into your station, you'll see your schedule, any open issues or alerts, and then also a journal section. The crew members, they can click into their different checklists. So basically anywhere they see a number that represents something that's due, so they can click right in there. This is engine 1 is the checklist I just went into. And then here on the checklist, you can basically go down and perform your checks. So we can do a couple of checks here. We'll log those off. If you do have a new issue, you can set an alert by clicking this little red yield sign. So I'll just say we got a flat tire today. And you don't have to complete all your checks. I'll just log off these 3. And when you log those off, each of those individual checks will be documented in the system. And because we set this alert, it's going to bring us to an alert details page. So this is where you can input more information about that problem. You can also attach pictures. So if you're using a phone or an iPad, you can snap pictures and attach those. And then these are kind of the recipients that we've determined need to receive the alert. So once I set the alert, it'll be emailed and texted off to all those folks there. It'll bring us back to our checklist if we want to do more checks. But if I go back to my home page, you'll see here in the middle at the very top is that new alert that I just set, that tire issue. So again, what we're trying to do is just keep everything front and center for the crews. What's nice about this is if A shift sets the alert, when B shift logs in tomorrow, they can go to their dashboard and they can see all the activity that's been reported recently. And what you can also do is add comments. So during the process of fixing that tire, we can come in and say, maybe the mechanic will add a comment that they'll be out tomorrow to replace. So you can add those comments along the way, and those will just get added right to the alert. And eventually, when we resolve that issue, we can close the alert. So we'll say fixed. We'll close this out. If you want to add a cost or other files, you can do that. And once you close it, that alert will just disappear off the home page because the crew members don't need to see that anymore. but all that activity, all those alerts will get archived. So from a reporting perspective, you can always go in, you can filter by a station or a particular apparatus, and you can see a history of all the different alerts or repairs that were needed for that vehicle or that station. In addition to that, all those green checkboxes I was performing, those all get captured in the logs. So the logs, you can think of this, if your paper check sheets you have today, typically they get filled out and go into a binder somewhere. The logs is kind of the replacement of that. So all those individual tasks get stored here in the logs, and you can drill down as far as you need to go. So like on engine one, if I just want to see all the tasks that were done today, I can pull that up, and then it'll just list those out one by one for us right here. And you can obviously export this or print it if you ever need to. So from a high level, that's kind of how PSTracks works. What I focused on there was mostly our vehicle module and doing some of the vehicle checks. On the equipment side, you also have your PPE, SCBA, and critical asset modules. And just to give you a sneak peek into those, for each of the modules, there's a gear list page. And you can go into the gear list page, and basically for your entire department, you can see all of the equipment that you have. So here in our PPE section, we can see down here below all of the individual items that we have. For each item, it'll show you who it's assigned to and all the pertinent information about it. Things like manufacturer, our serial number, ID number. Over on the right-hand side, we have our status and also our expiration dates, which are really important. But you can use this to complete batch events. So maybe as an administrator, you want to grab a bunch of items. I'll just select some pants here and do a batch event. So for example, maybe you just had all these pants sent out for an advanced inspection and you want to log that. So you can select whatever type of event you want to complete, and all these events are customizable based on what you'd like to track. So I did an advanced inspection. We can go through, mark off our NFPA checks for that. If you send things to a vendor, you can track the cost of it. And then once we log the event, that'll now be in the history for all these individual items, these 3 pairs of pants that we logged that for. And as I mentioned in my slides, if there ever is an accident or an audit and you need to provide all that information about a particular item, you can click into the details tab just like this. And this is the information for this particular pair of pants. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see the full history, and you can go as far back as you need to. But you'll see down here below, there's that advanced inspection that I just logged with all the different checks that were associated with that event. Just to give you some other examples, there's a routine inspection, but any other events like cleanings or repairs, alerts. So when if you have a rip in your jacket or if an asset breaks, all those different activities can be tracked here in the history, and then you can just export that whenever you need to. Obviously, that was kind of our PPE module, but all the functionality applies to our critical asset module and our SCBA module. They kind of operate the same way. And so hopefully that was helpful. Kind of a quick little overview of PSTracks there. Like I mentioned before, if you'd like a more thorough demonstration for your team, obviously would love to do that for you. But with that, Danielle, I think I'll go ahead and hand it back over to you. And I think we're going to do some Q&A for about 15 minutes or so to kind of wrap things up.
Yes, definitely. So if any of you guys have specific questions, feel free to throw them in the chat now. I've been keeping note of a few that have come in so far. So this one is for Ray, and they said, Tell me a little bit more about the external training. How does that work?
We have a feature in the platform that allows for external activity, external training, and external education to be uploaded. So you can go and take let's say you go and take a class at a conference and you receive a CE certificate. You can upload that certificate to your learner's account and it will track toward their recertification. We also have an external activities tracker that allows you to upload information on any drills that might have been performed in the field. So if you had a truck rodeo or a ladder drill, any external activity that you want to track, you have the ability to upload that as well. And the third piece is the ability to upload any external certification information. So I hope that answers that question.
Perfect. And then this next one, I'm pretty sure that this one is for Ryan. So they were mentioning the app to track everything. They said, is that an app that you have to download, or how does that work to keep track of the checks?
Yeah, thanks, Danielle. Yeah, great question. So with PSTracks, it's a web-based application. So you don't have to download an app from like the App Store or anything like that. You can access it just on any browser. So the most common ones would be like Google Chrome or Safari, Microsoft Edge, but you can use any device. So it could be, I kind of showed it on my computer, but you could use a tablet or a Toughbook or a phone. And one nice thing about that is you can have multiple crew members out doing checks at the same time. So if you have like a big inventory day around the ambulance or the fire truck, and you have a 3 or 4 person team, they can each be out there checking a different compartment, each having their own device that they're using. And as they complete those checks, it'll come off the schedule in real time for everyone. So yeah, great question. Apologies for not mentioning that.
And we also had a question. It doesn't specify which platform this is for, but I think it probably applies to both. They were asking, how easy is this to use for someone who's not really computer savvy?
I'll tell you from the Career Cert perspective, extremely easy to navigate, both the learner experience and the administrator as well. And literally with a 10 or 15 minute overview, especially for an administrator, 10 or 15 minute overview to go through the ease of navigation. It's very simple. I am somewhat biased. Before I joined Career Cert, I was on the Medic CE platform for about 10 years with an ambulance provider here in Southern California with 1,600 employees. And I would just tell you that if I could figure out how to use it, it's probably pretty easy for others as well.
Yeah, and likewise on the PSTracks side, I was thinking back to one of the best compliments I think we ever received was an agency, and I was talking with their kind of main point of contact, and he said that their least tech savvy person learned the system in about 5 minutes and didn't have any questions on how to use it. So I think that was we appreciated that testimony, so to speak, from them. And I kind of went through a lot of my little demo, but really we try to keep it very simple and straightforward for the frontline crews. Essentially, they go on their dashboard, they do their checks, and that's pretty much it. But at the same time, as an administrator, you have all the functionality and reporting kind of on the back end that you need for your roles. So yeah, I'd say likewise, similar to Career Cert, and that was again one of the reasons we kind of married up in our partnership. You know, the two organizations, I think our platforms are both modern but also very user friendly. And I think that goes a long ways, especially in terms of just adoption with the crews, right? If they aren't using the systems, that kind of defeats the point. So we want to make sure the systems get rolled out and that they're actually being used.
Perfect. And then, and just a reminder, anyone can send in the questions. But the next question that we have coming in, this is about the PSTracks pricing. So they were just wondering, kind of how that works and how they would be able to get their department involved.
Yeah, thanks for the question. And this goes for PSTracks and Career Cert. If anyone would like pricing, if you don't mind, if you haven't already, just drop Danielle a note in the chat, and we'll be happy to reach out to you and provide that. For PSTracks, we price it based on our modules. So I talked about we have 7 different modules. So based on what modules you choose, we just price those out individually. And most of the modules are just based on the number of stations you have, which is pretty easy. The vehicle module, we actually count up how many vehicles you have. So for the pricing, I'd be happy to reach out to you, and I can kind of gather those metrics for your department, and then we can give you a price proposal for your agency. And Ray, I don't know, would you like to speak to Career Cert, kind of how you guys do your pricing?
Sure. So our pricing is based on the number of seats that an agency would need, and then we add to that what level of education that they would be looking for. If it's simply just self-paced, or is it self-paced plus the virtual instructor-led, you can add on the ACLS certification library and the virtual reality. So really customizable. If you have a group of 100, not all 100 people have to have the same level of access. You can have a core group that just has access to EMS, a group that has access to the fire library, or combined access. So very easily to customize it and get what you need versus putting everybody in the same subscription, and you're paying for some things that you don't necessarily need for that individual.
So this is a question, and I think it's mostly applying to Career Cert, but it could apply to both as well. It's talking about how you help solve for when there's department-specific things that they're trying to track. Might not be that good.
Okay. So probably 2 answers to that question. The first one on department-specific training, we have a section in the platform that we call in-house courses, where you have the ability to upload your own individual department-specific training and utilize the learning management system to distribute that to your learners. And I think the second part of it, Danielle, may be related to training activities that take place outside of the platform that you want to bring that information in to track it through the external records portion. Did I address both of those?
I'll give it another few minutes and see if they come in more in the chat.
I'll just add from a PSTracks perspective, Danielle, in case there was an element of that in the question. On the PSTracks side, we customize all the checklists and all the different events that you want to document. So when I was going through and doing some of the green check boxes, all those checks are customized based on what you would like to track. So we even individualize it for each vehicle. So ambulances, they tend to be relatively standardized, but like on the fire side, a lot of times the vehicles will be very different, and the compartments will carry different items. So we actually customize each compartment and list out all the items inside that you want to track.
Perfect. Okay, I'm just checking again. I don't think there's any more questions. I'll give it just a few more seconds in case someone's already trying to type it. Okay, it looks like we are good. So I just wanted to thank you, Ryan and Ray, for taking the time to be with us here today. And thank you everyone for joining us today. We really do appreciate this opportunity to connect with you. And we thank you so much for the sacrifices you are making to make the community safer places. Stay safe and take care, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.